Now, Tarewa Pounamu is spoken about now. Briefly, we've learned that Tarewa Pounamu was the papakainga that's around Taharangi. Tarewa Pounamu, I believe, that in the old days, that's in the early 1900s, the stagecoach used to come from Auckland on its way to Taupo, excuse me, and they used to pull up opposite the boys' high school where Marae is. There's a big paddock there that goes around L shape in front of Matatua. Now that was a holding paddock for all the horses for the stagecoaches. And the stagecoaches would come through, and there were wagons to pick some of the tourists up. Some go to the lake house to have a look at the sites around Rotorua, and the others would go to Tarewa, to the where the buried village was. So all these things were happening in the late 1800s, and yeah, so that was the situation then, and even when we were kids growing up, the drovers were bringing their cattle through to Rotorua, and they used to truck all the cattle from the station at Rotorua through to Auckland to the abattoirs. So the cattle, there was a holding paddock for them. They'd load the cattle onto the wagons and then transport them to Auckland. So all these things were going along when we were little kids at Tarewa. Taharangi and the wharekai were never closed. We used to play in there as kids. Now whenever there was a tangi, everyone bought their mattresses from home, and they just had cleaned up the wharekai, cleaned up Taharangi, bought their own mattresses and everything, and then got on the phone to Hororo, want sheep and potatoes, and all the kai come down from Hororo, and they had their tangi. When the tangi was finished, everyone cleaned up and went home. Everything went back to normal. So Taharangi was the papakainga of Tarewa. Everything happened at Taharangi. Even as kids, we used to cut manuka after the war, when fireworks became available again, we decided to have bonfires. So as kids we'd go in and cut manuka in the Quiro and drag it to Taharangi, and we had a bonfire there. And all the parents were behind us. They decided we'd have a concert in Taharangi, and us kids had to sing, you see. Everyone paid threepence to go in. Us kids did the concert, sang all the songs. Some of them were rude ones. We had listened to the soldiers singing. And we wondered why they all laughed, because it was all in Maori, eh? And yeah, and then we'd have a big night, Guy Fox. And the parents cut sandwiches for us, and so the whole of Tarewa came together, and they did all this at Taharangi was the centre of all the activities of Tarewa. Yeah. And no, I have fond memories of Tarewa and all the people that, some of them I don't know now. I can remember some of the families there just staying there briefly and not really getting to know their children or anything, but there were heaps of people passed through Tarewa.
Most of our queers passed on, At first, I used to work at the back, and I loved it. And whatever went on in the wharenui, I wasn't interested. But however, these three women were called. There was Meriana, there was Meriana, oh God, what was the other? There were three of them anyway, was called to come into the whare. Oh, Nunu, I forget the third one. But anyway, they were called to come in here. So, the hoki tanga mai, I said, oh, ea tō koutou mahi. And they said to me, oh, we just hate it. Hated what? And they said, the karanga. Oh, as far as I know, when the kuia, ka karanga te kuia, ke hariata ngā wahine, that's an honour. You know, you've been asked. Oh no, we're coming back at the back here. I said, kaore. I said, there's a no at the back here. Once you go in a wharenui, that's it. Oh God, they hated it. But that was the start of the karanga. And then my mother said to my cousin, you remember Anne? Annie Oaks, we used to call her. He said, me timata koe ki te tū ki te karanga. And she said, oh, nee, right. Oh, well, she started. We went somewhere away from Tarewa, and she said to my sister, oh, this is the time for you to practice. Go on, you do the karanga. And my sister said to her, oh, no, don't worry, you're here. You know, don't worry about it. Anyhow, time came. Suddenly, my cousin died. But we called her our sister. She passed away. I never seen my sister cry so much. I knew she's going to be next in line. Anyhow, as time went on, my sister started getting sick, you know. And we looked at it. There was Nahina, that's right, Nahina, doing the karanga and all that. And then, all of a sudden, we had no women. And the man said, oh, me hare mai koe. I said, mo te ara, oh, karanga. Oh, I said, I started to dodge, And then I just couldn't do anything about it but do the right thing. And then in some of the tangis that we used to go to, me and my sister, with our mother, and as soon as we get to the gate, and then ko karanga mai te wahine o te marae, and my mother said to my sister, whakarongo koe, hopu atu ngā kupu, you know. And I thought back to what my mother said, and I said, oh, please help me. I used to go out there, instead of me saying the things I should have said, I've said something else. You know, this happens. Yeah. Yes, Robin. It's not an easy thing, but as time went on, things started to get smooth. Yeah. And first of all, you got to ask him, the one above, to help you.
But now you're teaching a whole lot of others.
Yeah, I'm more confident now. Yeah.
You're teaching others.
Ka reo e mataku. Now, at Ken Henston's tangi, oh, they had big crowds, Yeah. Well, the wahine I reira, ko mea mai ki au, oh, you know. So, it didn't worry me, the crowds. Yeah, it's only the ones doing the karanga. Yeah. And a lot of the queers that came on, tangi haere mai ana. And when I was teaching the women, I said, me ngunguru koutou. It was ngunguru. I said, tangi. And they said, oh no. They didn't want to hear that. I said, well, that's how it goes. E te kuia ka tangi ana, e hare mai ana ki runga te marae, me tangi koe. Yeah. Oh. That's how it was, Robin. I just had to do it.
Oh yes, we came here a lot when we were young, because Auntie Tira, she used to do she was in the kitchen a lot, and she used to teach all us young girls how to set the tables and wash the dishes and all that. She was very good at that, yeah. She used to be very fussy as well. But yeah, we used to come down to, just to help in the wharekai. We never came into the wharenui very much. It was always in the wharekai.
At that time, can you remember who was on the paepae, who was the Karanga, those things?
Oh, at the time, oh well, when I remember, that was in the 40s. It would be Auntie Roma and I don't know whether Nanny Susan did a karanga here.
Yeah,
She did, eh? She did. Yeah, she did karanga sometimes. And who was the other ones? I can't think of the other ones that were here. Yeah. Hariata. Well, Kuro was on the paepae for Kuro Bill, and Kuro Foley, he was on the paepae. That's all I could remember, those two, because I never remembered the other ones.
Later years, there was Dave Paikea and Ami Pau.
Well, that was in the 50s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, in the 50s, 60s. Ken would come up when there was illustrious visitors around.
Because Tarewa was always empty at that, you know, when everyone left Tarewa and the kids used to play in it, it was never used much. And of course, we decided to try and bring it back to life, eh? So Mum and Dad, who were trustees, and of course got Polly and I, and we ran Housey for a while. Polly ran that. And then we took on Kontiki tours, and that was a, you know, real tie. And we raised all this money and started fixing up Taharangi and all that. And yeah, and then when we got married and I started coming back to Hororo more often, getting more involved with the hapu out here, you know, hapu work out here. And I could see, you know, your father was getting sort of overloaded with chairman, treasurer thing. And so we had Norman there for treasurer, but he didn't know anything. So your mum and dad asked me if I'd be treasurer, so I said, yeah, I'll be treasurer. And I don't know how long, I was treasurer for 20 years, I think. So once we got involved with the Marae work, and we sort of had a vision of where we wanted to go, and it was hard yakare in those days. We had to, because we all know of Hororo used to be a thriving community, but when everyone left, you know, it was a bit hard, and we were depending on people from Tarewa and town to come out and sort of run everything. When I took over, we didn't even have enough money to pay the insurance for the church and everything, so I cut that out, and away we went. And then it was Dad who thought of the koha, you know, for those not living here to contribute towards their marae. And that was good. That went off, and we started doing things that, you know, gave us a bit of an income. Renting out the marae, and this is where Tawhiri came in, being a kaumatua with the girls' high school, and that bring the schools out, you know. And I thought, that's a wonderful thing, we're exposing our way of life to Pakeas that would never have the opportunity to do it, you know. And there was one girl who worked for the insurance company, and when I organised our insurance through Dawson, this girl said, oh, do you know Tawhiri Morehu? I said, yeah, he's the chairman of our Kero Manahi committee. And she said, oh, he's lovely, eh? He took us from the girls' high school. They'd never forget Kero, because they had the swimming hole and all these things, eh? Oh, now her and I were just like that, eh? I couldn't go wrong with my insurance after that. But, so these were the things. So after that, I've always encouraged Pakeha coming to the marae, you know. Okay, so over the years, we gradually built up our funds, and then wanted mattress rooms and everything. I said, oh, well, we haven't got enough money for that. But so we had plans for this and plans for that. And we had good working bees in those days and did this and did that. And so you know, we got more and more people coming back to the marae through Trish's wānangas and that. And so things were looking good. But then, once again, it's all sort of died off, eh? So I don't know what the future for the marae is.
What would you like it to be?
Hey?
What would you like it to be? What would you hope it would be?
I would like to see it alive, marae, but like we've got to be careful, I think. See, Taharangi, everyone at Taharangi, I know my family saw Taharangi as their marae, but that's changed, eh? And of course, we're in trying to raise funds to look after the marae, it's gone away from the concept of tangihana and that. And we always thought, well, we can use Taharangi as it is now, no tangihana, nothing like that. And what it's doing now is lovely. But we can't afford Kiro to go the same way. You know, forget the tangis and we go to more commercial. I've always wanted to, and one person, I remember Ken Eru, whenever there was a tangi here and he was speaking on the paepae, if Paikeas came, he'd speak Paikea as well as Māori. Now this, I thought to myself, that's a good idea. Paikeas won't come to a tangi because they're frightened, eh? They might do something wrong. But Ken would make them feel at ease just with his way, you know. And I've always thought that. Now when Hepora was working at a kindergarten, he said, oh, Koro, could I bring the kindergarten up for a marae day? I said, oh, I think that's an excellent idea. So we organised it, just, you know, Rhonda and Mike and I, and they brought all their kids up. They brought their lunches. We had a lunch for them, and went through the health and safety. I said, now you keep those kids here and watch out for the river and that sort of thing. And we had a bit of a mihi whakatau in here, how we do it. And the kids had their little, you know, reply, the little song, and they were running around here. It was a great day. We had 2 of those days here. And they said, oh, how much koha? I said, oh, $50 will do, you know, your kohanga reo. So I believe in the education that way. You know, it's no good saying to, you know, attacking Pakeha all the time, eh? You know, bring them in. Bring them in. If they understand us, you know, the way we live, why we live the way we do, then they might see. But now Tarewa has come in and they're all starting to speak Tarewa. That's great. You know, I love that. And I think that's the way. You know, we missed out in our day, but that doesn't matter. We're heading in the right direction now with the kohanga reo, and we're getting some good young speakers up now, and yeah.
Oh, for me, even though I don't speak te reo, I'd love to see it 100% out here. And I'd love to see no smoking out here. I'd love to see, instead of sitting at the back there smoking. I'd love
Now we've got the signs.
yeah, at the back, I'd love to see no smoking out here. And 100% te reo, I'd love to see that. Because, you know, a lot of our mokupanas, they go to kuras and that now. Well, the majority of ours, like my moko, she goes there. And a lot of our other families, their mokos go there. So, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you know, my involvement with the hapu now is getting to the stage of being the koike for the hapu. Didn't ever think that I would get to that age, get to that part of my life, even growing up. We had so many of the elders sat on the paepae, worked in the back, and I never envisioned myself to even be in this position. I'm grateful that I am, and then you asked that what do I see for the future, is that just recently listening to our younger ones like Rapu, Noah, Pau, even though he's on his mother that he belongs here, which is just wonderful. And they are the ones that would be now taking part of the upholding our tikanga and that's what I would like to see developed as we go. And I know that that's already begun, that they're having wānangas here to teaching how to whai kōrero, for te reo, and all those things. And to me, that's absolutely wonderful that we are maintaining that strong link with our marae and this whole system of ours. Yes. Yes.
Well, I hope the marae keeps going with our children, with our young ones coming back, and if they can do something with our marae and keep it going for the younger generations, you know, that's all I ask of them. And look after our marae. Yeah.
Yeah. For the marae, I hope, and you can get this cut out if you want to, I hope with our investment that we're able to supplement the marae financially. It's always been our goal, it's been your goal, and those of us that are on the runanga. Our goal is to try and get enough money to at least keep the marae. Well, the marae is all right. It's the upkeep of the buildings and ngā kuia nei. Yeah. As I was saying earlier, reading this Chinese book, and you said if you have a magnolia tree in the front of your place and one at the back, you'll invite riches. And I thought, whoa, that'll. So I grew one at the front, the one at the back of the wharekai and was from when Ken and Mahera used to stay up at Kuiwhiti's place. I dug that one out, transplanted it down here, and God, it's just gone bigger and bigger. So while I was up there, I went back and got another load of trees, and there was they're out the side there, azaleas, and they're just gone mad. One day they'll have to be cut down, not the magnolias. We want to keep our wealth between the two magnolias.
Any final things you'd like to say?
Okay, right.
Yeah, just one. I'm just looking up there. Our waiata is up there, and it sounds like our younger ones of this year are really doing well, learning waiata, kōrero, raranga, how to set the marae up. Because one day that's their job. Well, it is now in actual fact. Yeah. So, cheers for them. Kia kaha ki te mahi ai.
Kia rātou.
Yeah. Koinara.
But my view of the world for us at Horohoro is to be a thriving place. A thriving place because we don't have to go away from here to use our skills. We can use our skills here and feed it out into the world. That's the dream, that we can have people who have got a good background in maths, English, and science, and why can't we have them operating as scientists, be it in technology, be it in the land. But first of all, they've got to know who they are from the land. And so there has to be a pocket set aside for te reo me ona tikanga. The same pocket that's set aside for te reo me ona tikanga is how much time do we capitalize and put into using the skill base that we have to improve on our people going forward. You know, like if a person has a better idea of how things can be done, put it out there and let's see how we can make it happen. Because we've got some smart ones with us, Robert.
Well, Robin, you know, my hopes are this for our young ones, because I look at them, they are for tomorrow when I'm gone. And I've said to them, ke whakarongo koutou, ki ngā kupu o tātou pakeke. Whatever they left behind, we hopu atu I roto I te ringa. Those are my hopes, that everything will go right for the young ones, because I can see it's going to be hard. I thought it was hard in my time, but a lot of our pakekes were alive. But now, there's not many of us left behind. And those are my thoughts, that they bring their young ones down, kia mohi o rātou, what the marae is all about. Kia teki rātou, I o tātou whare, everything that surrounds our marae, kia mohi o rātou. How to look after it, how to go about a lot of things. I mua te whare nui, I muri I te whare kai. What I like to see the whānau is doing, kia mohi o rātou, if they lose a loved one. Ana, kei reira rātou, awa, a mea ki muri, a mea ki mua. You know, kia kaha rātou, ki te ki atu, oh well, you be in the front there and the others at the back. I konei a hau, e rua ngā rā. There was no one around. Ka tangi taku ngā kau. That's what I want to see. Not everybody going ko mate rā their loved one, but me whakaro rātou, oh, me haere tika etahi ki te marae, te whakatika tika, ki te whakapai, e ngā mea ki muri mō ngā kai. Those are some of the things aku whakaro mō konei. Ai. And then, kia teki I te manuhiri, ka tā mai te manuhiri, koe ke ware ware. They all come first. Yeah. Kei muri I tātou I ngā manuhiri. Ai. Kei mohi o tātou rangatahi. Ai. Our young ones. Those are the ones I'm looking at now. Yeah.